Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy. We're here with Malcolm from Survivor Game Changers, Philippines and Caramoan.
Hi, Malcolm. Thanks for speaking with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. How are y'all doing?
Good. Did you consider not playing Survivor again, or was that an easy yes for you?
Yeah, it took a while to say yes this time. It's been a few years, growing a little beer belly, lost a step, and real life happens. You got more responsibilities as you start becoming an adult, unfortunately. But when it came down to it, the timing worked out really well for a lot of reasons. And, having not won $1 million twice kind of lights the fire under your butt to go do it again. So I hesitated, but at the end, it was an easy decision.
How did your family react when you told them you were going to play again?
Oh, they get so excited. My mom loses it. She loves it. And I have some extended family members that have been hardcore fans since the beginning. So the family always gets really excited whenever I'm going to go out.
Excellent.
How long did you have to prepare this time once you knew you were going to play again?
Longer than the second time. Like the second time I played, I had to go pretty quickly. Between seasons, I had no time to recover from the first season. So I had 4 years technically, but in between knowing I was going to go and actually going, I had a while. I don't think I'm allowed to get into specifics, but I had a while.
So what did you do this time to prepare that was different?
Well, I tried to do, because I'm not I know everyone thinks I'm good at challenges. I'm really not. I can throw things pretty well, and I'm fast, and I'm good at puzzles. But when it comes down to individual immunity, it's always like stand still for 4 hours with your leg over your head or some yoga nonsense like that. And I hate yoga. I tried to go to yoga, which that's a big thing if you know me. I like to talk a lot of trash about yoga people. I went to yoga. I tried to do meditation stuff to steady my hands. I was doing a lot of vinyasa namaste things that I don't usually do in my everyday life to try to calm my body down for when it came down to individual immunity challenges. Never got to that point, unfortunately, but I definitely trained differently this time.
So what was your reaction when you first saw who the other returning players were? Were there anyone you did or didn't want to play with?
Yeah, pretty right off the bat, I think it was Suri and Sierra, the normal-sized Sierra, not the huge one, were the ones that I just did not want anything to do with right away. And I got stuck with Sierra, and I was the big driving force behind getting her out, actually, which was somewhat satisfying. But you get excited when you're looking at a crowd like that. All these big names, these legends you grew up watching, it's exciting to see that. And I thought it was great for me from a strategic standpoint because there's all these big-time people out here going to give me more room to blend in. So when I was looking around on day one, I was feeling really good.
How did the Game Changers title end up affecting your gameplay?
Well, it's less the title and more that, I guess I shouldn't say that. The title meant that the title wasn't just attributed to the players. It meant that they're going to change the game literally in this season, 18 waves from Sunday, and y'all saw last night how that affected my game. I basically got twisted out. So, but that's the way it goes. Sometimes the breaks work your way and sometimes they don't. But a season being called Game Changers is going to have quote-unquote game-changing moments, and they're going to insert a lot of things that you're not prepared for, and it unfortunately led to disaster for me.
Did you search at either camp for the hidden immunity idol?
Yeah, not so much the first one. I was the one kind of pushing for no one to work too hard or no one to over-strategize in the beginning of the game. That was my strategy coming into it. And when Tony was going crazy looking for an idol, everyone wanted to get rid of him. And I would love to be going crazy like Tony looking for an idol. I love looking for idols. But it put such a big target on his back, I couldn't risk doing that to myself. So I was very slow about it. I'd go pick around for 5 minutes. I'd noticed something the day before, an odd-looking tree, go dig when no one was around really quickly. But in the beginning of the game, though, not too much looking. But before this last tribal council, we had a tribe-wide dig to try and find one for about an hour. All 6 of us, including JT, we're all out in the woods trying to find one together so that we can have a little more protection come tribal council.
Oh, I wish they had shown that. Did you think you were in a good position at Nuku after the swap?
Oh, I was killing it. I was in perfect position actually in Nuku. I was right in the middle of that tribe. Everything was going according to plan. In the short term with that group, there was no way I was going home. I was allies with everybody. Me and Michaela had some tension that really didn't make the show. But besides that, me, Sandra, were tight. Me and Aubrey were tight. Me and JT were BFFs forever, skipping down the beach holding hands. And me and Barner would talk. We were super tight. So I loved my position in the short term. But in the long term, if I was looking towards the end of the game, it was getting a little bit hairy because so many of my original tribe members were going. So short term, fantastic position. Long term, I was getting a little nervous.
Tell us a little more about how you think your tribe mates there on Nuku are doing. Let's start with Aubrey.
Aubrey's my girl. She's the coolest. I love Aubrey. We're the Survivor super nerds who would sit there and they'd just be so excited that were like getting to do this. So Aubrey's the coolest, but she was not in the best of situations because her and Sandra have a lot of beef that hasn't been shown on the show yet. They've been butting heads really close to the beginning, and it just hasn't been a storyline, so you haven't seen it yet. But Aubrey and Sandra are kind of they're getting they're not too fond of each other. Let's put it that way. But me and Aubrey were super tight. And I think I said Aubrey was the one person you have like your ride or die. Like I'm allies with everybody. Aubrey was the one I would talk to.
How about Varner?
Varner is just sitting back and being sassy. Varner's attitude is his greatest asset out there. Everybody loved him. I think he felt like he was in a good position. But I got to tell you, if we'd gone to a normal tribal council last night after he blew that tribal. Immunity challenge, and we blew a big lead. It was hard to watch. Me and JT were not pleased. Sympathized with him, but we were not pleased. He might have been in trouble if we had a normal tribal council last night. We had to vote somebody off our own tribe.
How was JT doing?
Me and JT immediately hit it off. I kind of suspected that would be the case. We're both Southern boys. He's got a little bit more of an accent than I do, but. We're both Southern boys. We hit it off immediately. And my tribe my original tribe, Aubrey, Sandra, all those guys, kind of encouraged me to like build that relationship because we might need to work with them later. So me and JT were bonding really quickly. Obviously he's down 5-1. If we had to go to a tribal council, like he obviously might have been in trouble, and that's why he was throwing Sandra's name around so much. Like he was trying to get the target off of him. Me and JT were very tight, and I intended, if I'd been there, working with him a lot longer.
And Michaela, how was she doing in that tribe?
Michaela, we got along. We were fine, but Michaela's the one I wanted to. Michaela had to be babysat from a strategic standpoint. And I understand that she's just insanely good at challenges, but she'd come back and have huge reactions and run her mouth too much. You can't have a strategic partner like that. Aubrey really wanted to keep her around. I think Sandra wanted to keep her too. They were using her as a vote for their side. I think a lot of people saw Michaela being like an integral part of their games for a long time. But really just for me, I didn't want her around because I didn't think she would be a good alliance partner down the road.
And how was Sandra doing?
Sandra's awesome. I adore Sandra. I mean, what you see is what you get. And you meet her 5 minutes later, you understand why she's won twice. Like I said, her and Aubrey have a little bit of feud going on, and it kind of stuck me in the middle of it because I was close to both of them. But we see a lot of, especially watching on TV, Sandra, she calls herself the queen, and Sandra likes to think she's running the show. I don't know if she's in as much control as she thinks she is in her confessionals, but everybody loves Sandra, even the ones who want to get rid of her.
So would you have killed the goat if the majority had wanted you to?
I don't think I could do it. We talked about that for a very, very long time. I mean, if it wasn't a mama goat with her little adorable baby running around, yeah, I probably could have done it. But when it came down to it, we talked about it for a long time. And we're a bunch of hungry people from the suburbs of America. We don't do this on an everyday basis. But we have the baby, and she's hanging out next to the mom. We've already caught him when we tied him up, while we talked about what we were going to do. And for me, it came down to when JT explained that if we killed the mama, my thought was, well, we can kill the mom and the baby can run off, and there's goats all over the island. Somebody else will take care of it. He goes, no, that's not how it works. They're just going to let that little baby die. I'm like, okay, we're not killing the goat. Sorry. Nope. That's kind of what I put down on. Can't kill a baby goat. It's the cutest thing on the planet. So I couldn't have done it because of the baby.
Did you ever try to catch any of the other goats?
Yeah, there was a little bit of that, but you got to remember that I wasn't there too much longer, so I didn't have much of a chance.
Right. Did you? How many chickens did you have at camp when you left?
Oh gosh, hell, I don't remember. I think we ate 1 or 2 while I was there, and I was on that beach for 4 days. So we'd eaten 1 or 2 out of the original 5, maybe, but I don't really remember.
How important were the reward items for your tribe?
It's less about, sometimes it's good for fuel and sustenance and things like that, but it's more like of a moral victory. Knowing that you won the challenge gives you a confidence boost, and you come back and you're all celebrating over something like that. I know it doesn't, some people complain, all they did was flavor coffee and cookies. What was the point of that? Well, that's a big bonding moment for the people there, and it really affects the social relationship sometimes, brings you guys together. And I remember after we won the reward that time, the others came back and be like, we're invincible. We're never going to lose a damn thing. We're killing it. And obviously that wasn't the case, but it's a good feeling for a tribe to win that.
Did the comfort items actually help you rest or sleep better?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I wasn't even thinking about those. But, yeah, when you get pillows and blankets and things, and I'll tell you, the craziest thing is the chairs. Oh, my gosh. The chairs are the best thing on the planet because you don't really think about this watching the show. We don't sit down and lean back at all. We don't have a chair. We sit on benches or, bamboo platforms and things like that. So the first time you actually lean back and relax into a proper chair is heaven. And yeah, so you do sleep better and things like that and are more comfortable, and that definitely does give you an edge and challenge.
You and JT talked about targeting Sandra. Who did you think would vote with the two of you to get her out?
I was never really considering that. I think It was, well, we got to remember that everything they were showing when me and JT had that conversation, if we were going to go to a tribal council where it was normal, like it was just our tribe voting. And now I'm doing everything I can to keep JT happy and things like that. If you're ever going to be on Survivor, just say yes to everybody's face and then make up your mind later.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The easiest thing on the planet. That's one thing I've learned. Just say yes. Now, have we actually gone to tribal council? And I know JT was pushing for Sandra because obviously JT's down 5-1. He thinks he's got to do something. But if we'd actually gone, as much as I just knocked that, it might have been a Sandra or Aubrey or Varner, because there was this idea that me and Aubrey were really tight. I was tight with Sandra too. JT's pushing for Sandra. No one really was talking about getting rid of JT because he was so good at the challenge. So it might have been Sandra, but when I said that to JT, that was more just me making him happy than really considering it.
So who did Nuku plan to vote off going into tribal council?
I mean, it was going to be Sierra all the way, and we had a couple reasons for that. It was a pretty easy decision, really. I keep getting asked, like, why didn't you vote for Brad? Well, JT really liked Brad, and didn't want to go against him, and we wanted JT on our side, so we couldn't piss off JT, so we couldn't vote for Brad. But Sierra's also really good at challenges. She's like 8 feet tall. And the consensus was that Sierra's one of the last people on that beach who would ever find an idol. She's got a history of not looking for it. These are things you just learn when you play with people and talk to them long enough. Sierra doesn't really look for idols, so there was no way she was going to have one, which turned out to be the case till Ty gave her one. So it was pretty easy to choose Sierra, and then we just stuck with that all the way to the end.
So how did you feel about JT talking to Brad at Tribal, and what did he tell you that he said to Brad?
Yeah, JT leans over and tells me that, hey, I'm going to go tell Brad that he's safe. I'm like, well, that's idiotic, but also, like, again, we're trying to keep JT happy, so that's kind of in the back of your mind. And also, I'm thinking about my end game. My tribe is slowly dwindling. And I've got a really good relationship with JT. Didn't super get show on the show, but we were very close. And JT's close to Brad, so I'm thinking, well, through JT and Brad, I might be able to weasel my way into that tribe later on, like after the merge or something. So I don't want to like piss them off. Like JT going over there and saying, "Hey, Malcolm's cool. He's with us. Like, you're safe. Don't worry." That's fine by me. But the problem was JT kept on talking and told him about Sierra and ruined everything. Thanks, JT.
What else happened at Tribal Council that we didn't get to see? It seemed like in your day after video you said it was really long.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Tribal Councils always last much longer than you see on TV. This one was an age. It took an era to get through. I think the biggest thing that like wasn't kind of shown is JT knew that his plan had backfired before we voted. About 2/3 of the way through, my tribe's all sitting there, and JT's running back and forth like a crazy person. He comes to me because we're close. He goes, "Man, we got to change the vote. We got to change the vote." Well, why, JT? Why? Well, obviously he knew they weren't going along with his plan to vote out Sandra. That was his original idea. Mm-hmm. Once he realized that they were going to go for me, his best buddy, he tried to tell us to change the vote, which was the right plan, but he wouldn't tell us why. He wouldn't admit that he'd blown our entire strategy to Brad. So he's telling us to change the vote, and we're just like, why, JT, why? And he goes, I just think we need to do it. I just think we need to do it. Well, we didn't do it because he wasn't giving us a reason to do it. If he just said, I screwed up, I told Brad that we were voting for Sierra, all of this would be different. We would have changed in a heartbeat, and I wouldn't be talking to you today. But JT got so scared of telling us what he's done, we didn't change anything. He knew it going into the vote. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. JT knew what was going to happen beforehand. I don't think he knew for sure that they had an idol and that it was going to go down like that, but he was definitely not sharing all of his information with us.
Tell us what you were feeling when you realized you were the one leaving, and how did you feel about Sierra kissing you on the cheek in the middle of that?
Sierra's my good friend, so I know everyone wants to make that into a horrible, pissy thing she did, but I think what happened was, in the moment, I hang out with Sierra all the time. I grabbed her leg as like they were reading my name, and like she leaned over and gave me a kiss, said love you, and I think I said love you too, and Brad said something too. My tribe was like moaning out loud. So Sierra kissing me was that's just because we love each other. But walking out, like I obviously had a big reaction to it. You see me crying my eyes out like a little girl, and it was less about like what had happened in the game and more like a stand back and like the whole sense of like my survivor life. Like it's usually three times the most people get to play. If you're extremely lucky, 3 times the most people get to play. And so it felt like going out, especially this early, was just so premature, and that's it for Survivor. Like this chapter of my life might have just ended, and that was the element that really got to me when I was walking down the ramp and doing my final words.
Was there anything else you wish had been shown about you that we didn't get to see this time?
I can't be mad at it. I mean, when you go out early, there's always a good chance that they're going to make you not look too hot. But I think it was pretty accurate. I was actually a little relieved watching the show last night because obviously I'm still not 100% sure how everything went down, giving you some guesswork on my part. It was about like I thought it was. And, I think one of the parts I enjoyed watching just a few episodes I was on this time was I consciously went out there trying to have more fun because I've been so into the game and focused the first couple times. I wanted to really enjoy the experience. I think I'm laughing every time the camera's on me this time around, and I'm falling over stuff for no reason and cracking jokes. And, so to answer your question, I'm perfectly happy with the way everything was shown, just except for the part where I got kicked off too early.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gave us a good laugh jumping over that hurdle last night.
I'm just goofing off. We were so far ahead, I'm going to do it. Why not? And then I ate it. I bruised my tailbone pretty bad, actually. But why not? It's Survivor. The best part about Survivor that's underrated is that you're just playing on obstacle courses built for grown-ups every few days. The challenges are so much fun if they weren't so stressful when you lose. And so, why not just be a clown out there a little bit if you have a big old lead?
What's next for you?
I don't know. We're going to see. I'm actually calling you from Colombia right now. I work as a journalist, so I'm down here for work. And, kind of doing the globetrotter thing for the moment. I do travel, food, and drink writing. Yeah, just kind of flying by the seat of my pants, which is my favorite way to do it.
Well, Malcolm, thank you for sharing with us today, and please give our best to Madeline, Mike, and Betty. Tell them we were thinking about them last night.
Oh, you're the sweetest. I'll definitely do that.
All right. Thanks, Malcolm. Good luck to you.
No, thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.